Hello and welcome back to another episode of True Crime Metrix. It's been a long slog, guys. We've got through, well, almost all of Daniel Rashbaum. Obviously, my body couldn't take it anymore and I passed out, fell asleep for the last 2 or 3 hours of the stream last night. It's amazing how much it keeps going in my absence. What makes me wonder if I'm even needed, you know? But there was a point where the live video that we were watching together went on to they took a break or something, and the camera was just zoomed in on the Florida seal, the great seal of the great state of Florida. So there was nothing going on the stream. All you could hear was me breathing, and people were still talking in the chat. I couldn't believe it. Went through the comments this morning, and people are really worried about my condition. It's not narcolepsy. I'm just really busy. And I think maybe we need to move to friggin' Arkansas or something. Is that Central Time? You know? Or Wisconsin or Austin, Texas, or somewhere in the middle, so we can handle West Coast, East Coast, and we're just happy all around. Hi, Leah, all the way up in Vancouver. Well, not really Vancouver, but BC, British Columbia. Welcome, Leah. And okay, so we're pretty done. There was a little bit more of Daniel Rashbaum that I just caught the last 5 minutes of, but really all he does is ask questions like this. He goes, "And Mr. Adelson, did you have anything to do with the first-degree murder of Dan Markel?" Like, it's just amazing to me that anyone thought he would work. And he doesn't care. His heart's not in it. I've said it before. What he's doing, instead of waiting for somewhere to object, is just catalog shopping in his mind. He's thinking, yes, the Berber carpet in the living room, yes. And then what shade of white should it be? Should it be tofu, putty, harvest wheat, or buff? Yeah, man. Look, Ian, you and me, we got to talk, man. I've just poured myself a hot coffee, you know. And by the way, guys, you want to keep me up? Buy me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com. We got the coffees rolling in. We're going to be awake for a week right now. This is my third cup in an hour. Okay. Taking no chances tonight, guys. But guess what? It's here. Today has come. And today is the day we start Georgia Cappleman's cross-examination, where she freaking dissects this steaming load of horseshit testimony. He's just spent, 3 days for us. In real time, it was a day and a bit of Daniel Rashbaum just going, yes, and when Katie came to you and told you about the Latin kings. Oh my God, it's just incredible, isn't it? Really incredible. And he was so shocked that it didn't work. He was like, we had Josh Dubin. We paid $1 million to cheat and have Josh Dubin to tell us what to do. And it's like Dublin, but Dubin without the L, Dublin. Wow, I wonder if he's ever been to Dublin on some dentist conference. Anyway, guys, we should really get to it, huh? It's going to be another 3-day special, I think, guys. So how do we do this? Let's present. Share screen. I just watched on repeat for about 5 times the bit right at the beginning of this video where Charlie Adelson is trying to untangle his headphones. I swear to God, there's something wrong with this guy. Like, mentally, or not a thing that we can make fun of, really, but like he's autistic or severely dyslexic, dyspraxic, something, and that adds up with his report from school. Just watch the way he twiddles with his headphones and tell me this guy's normal.
Right.
Look at that.
Adelson, is it doctor?
It is, yes.
All right, doctor. Have you ever heard the saying that...
Hang on, not ready.
Okay.
It's like he's tripping or something.
Mr. Adelson, is it doctor?
It is, yes.
Is your explanation to the jury over the last little over a day the simplest explanation?
It was the truth.
Do you, I mean, you have a thorough explanation. Would you agree with? I want to go through some of that. You claim that you were extorted on July 18th, 2014 by Catherine Magbanua and also in the background, some Latin kings, probably Garcia and Rivera, right? Is that accurate?
No, I wasn't extorted by Catherine Magbanua.
You weren't?
Okay, that's not what I believed in 2014.
Do you remember the bit in Daniel Rashbaum's closing argument where he comments on what Georgia just said about, have you ever heard the theory that the simplest explanation is always the correct one? And he starts going off about it, like trying to impress the jury with his historical knowledge of some monk called Occam, who goes, that was Occam's razor, and Occam's razor is a guess. And like the jury's going to be, oh, a guess? That sounds really unreliable. It could be just a guess. We don't guess in this country. I hate it when bad defense attorneys go on this moral friggin' thing about this country being the greatest system of justice. And, you know, maybe it is, but it's not perfect.
I'm sorry, I understood you to say you believe that today.
Today I do, yes.
All right, so who extorted you?
I believe that it was Catherine Magbanua's friend that she ran her mouth to.
Okay.
And that's at 2014.
Right, but as you sit here today, you think it's Magbanua, Garcia, and Rivera. Is that accurate?
No, that's not accurate.
Okay. Who extorted you?
As I sit here today, I believe that it was Catherine Magbanua, and I believe Sigfredo Garcia, but I don't know for sure. I was never there when she was ever talking to him, so I don't know if he was in on it with her or not.
All right. At the time, though, you did not think she was guilty. You got that right. The time of the extortion.
In 2014?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And then so exactly when you found out would be, I think you said, her trial.
That I suspected that she was not telling me the truth and she was a part of it was in 2019.
At her trial?
Yes.
All right. And so she was arrested in 2016, right?
Yes.
All right. So for 3 years, she was in the Leon County Jail awaiting trial. Yes?
She was there.
And you believed she was innocent.
Yes.
And you had this whole explanation to assist with exonerating her, right?
I have the truth of what happened, yes.
But you didn't offer the truth of what happened, did you?
Nobody came to me. I thought the truth would come out.
Does someone have to come to you?
I was told not to talk to Katie and not to talk to anybody about this case by counsel.
Okay. So you
know, I just want to build a statue of this woman, you know, but one that moves, because she's got so many fantastic facial expressions, body movements. Look at that. You know, I wasn't approached. And then she does this shock facial expression. And then this reach out thing. I love it. It's great.
Nobody came to me. I thought the truth would come out.
Does someone have to come to you?
I was told not to talk to Katie and not to talk to anybody about this case by counsel.
Okay.
And I think she was a little nervous, you know, not because of Charlie or because of Rashbaum, but because there's a lot riding on this. You know, this is the first Adelson, member of the Adelson family, that's on trial for the murder of Professor Dan Markel. And although they didn't pull the trigger, it is arguable, and I believe that they are the most culpable. And I believe the Markel family believe that as well. You know, they made the decision. the Latin kings, I mean, okay, they're gangsters. They do dodgy stuff all the time. But, if Charlie Adelson had managed to get off this, it would have really changed things for the next Adelsons to face justice. Donna, Wendy, maybe even Harvey, maybe not, maybe yes, maybe he'll die before they get to him. But, it just would have changed it. So Georgia might have been feeling some pressure about, well, I'm sure she was, right? But she does this thing, and we all need to learn from this, guys. When she's under the pressure, she takes small moves and then changes those small moves into big, decisive steps. And with that, it's like building blocks of her confidence. It starts with a smooth wave and builds and builds and builds and then crashes down.
So you strike that. On day one, which is July 18th, 2014.
Yeah, Neverly. And I think she spent so much time with the Markels. I mean, I know she does other cases and, she's assistant state prosecutor and everything like that. And she's a busy woman, right? But I think it's safe to say that this is the longest. I mean, this is a very unusually long, multiple trials situation. This is like the biggest thing of her career, probably will be ever. She spent a lot of time with the Markels, and I believe is personally invested, in serving their justice for them. So, if that's a big basket of eggs to carry up a hill.
And she is the only one that physically contacted you to conduct this extortion. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you are.
So you never actually had any contact with any Latin king?
No.
No phone calls?
No phone calls.
No texts?
No.
No letters?
Well, in 2016, you're talking about in 14, right?
I'm talking about the first layer of the extortion. Did you have any contact with the thugs that were getting your money for 2 years?
I love what she does there as well, where she puts that in quotes, right? Because when he was at Dolce Vita with Katie, he's like, it's not come from the first layer. And now she's like, I'm talking about the first layer of extortion.
No.
Did anybody put a gun to your head?
That's another good tactic. If you're ever in a legal argument, guys, I don't care if it's in court or with your boss or, a client or whatever. But if you use their language back at them, it shapes the argument a lot better. Gives you strength. Top legal tip.
I was told that I would be killed in 48 hours if I didn't pay up.
I heard you say that, but my question is, did anyone put a gun to your head?
You're asking me, did anyone pull a gun on me?
That's what
Is
I
that
asked
your
you.
question? No, nobody pulled a firearm on me.
All right, so when Catherine Magbanua came to you on July 18th.
Which is funny because what I just said, the Adelsons do the opposite. Wendy does it, Charlie just did it. Did anyone pull a gun on you? Nobody pulled a firearm on me. They changed the thing. And guess what? They lost.
Said, open the safe and give me all your money. She was not armed.
She was not carrying a gun that day,
And
no.
were you armed at that time? Did you have a weapon in your home?
I had weapons in my safe, yes.
And the money, the $138,000, was that stapled into $1,000 increments?
Each packet was $1,000, and had a staple in it.
And stapling money's
Hi, Niti. Good to see you.
a little unusual. Would you agree with that?
For me, it wasn't unusual. That's what I did.
Right, but nobody else does it. That's why I'm suggesting it's unusual.
I've never questioned people into how they keep their money, whether they keep it with a staple or a paper clip or an envelope. I just know what I.
How's the audio tonight, guys? Is it good with the levels on the stream and the microphone? Let me know in the comments.
do.
Would you agree, doctor, that it's a compelling piece of evidence that the killers were paid in stapled money and came up with that information in this case?
It's not compelling. The people who extorted me and got my money got it from my house, and it was stapled at my house.
They had to have gotten it from you, right? Because it was stapled.
If they got it from Katie, they got it from me.
Honestamente, nunca fui uma pessoa muito arrumada e a minha casa fica caótica muito rapidamente. E depois preciso sempre de imenso tempo para conseguir arrumar.
So it had to be some kind of, I paid, but I did it under duress, based on that piece of evidence, right? That had to be built into your defense.
I was extorted, and I paid the money.
So it had to be from your safe, right? That had to be built into your defense when you were coming up with this pile of shit, right?
All right, so Katie comes in and she's in a panic and she tells you what's happened. And I need all the money in your safe right now. Do you suspect that maybe she's working with the police at that point? Maybe she's trying to set you up?
No, she didn't say I need all the money in your safe. That's not what she said.
Did she take all the money in your safe?
I cleaned out all the money in my safe and handed it to her.
Right. Why did you do that?
Because I was being extorted for $250,000.
Maribel, great to see you.
But why didn't you? The bump was only $5,000, and you immediately became suspicious and questioning and had all these conversations and deliberations about what to do about it for days. When Katie comes to you, you just open the safe and give her the money, right?
That's what I did. And there's a big difference between the two.
Okay, well, the way that it was done to you, is that the way it's done?
You have to be more specific. Please.
Well, on the wire, you say repeatedly, that's not the way it's done. You knew that the undercover agent was law enforcement, or at least strongly suspected, because that's not the way it's done. And my question to you is, since you're an expert on extortion, because you've been extorted before, and that's how you knew that's not the way it's done, is this the way it's done? Do extortionists send a girlfriend of their victim to collect their extortion money? Is that the way it's done, doctor?
I'm telling you what happened to me. And I was told that if I didn't pay in 48 hours, I would be killed. The person that came and extorted my mom, that was not the same approach as what happened to me.
Is that the only way? That's the only way it's done? They send the girlfriend?
Yeah, guys, remember to like the video, share the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel, because this Georgia Cappleman cross-examination of Mr. Adelson here is going to be at least a 3-part special. And then what are we doing? We're moving on to I think we're going to do a bit of June Umchinda next, guys. You know, they're quite quick. You know, there's 3 testimonies from June Umchinda, and they're funny. You know, they're funny. But we're open to options. If you want to have your say on what comes next, why not join us on Discord? The link is in the description, along with the link to buymeacoffee.com if you want to support the channel, and everything else. It's all good.
The only time I've ever been extorted like that.
Okay. And did you hear any of the negotiate? So they come in and they say, strike. They come in and they say, we need $333,000.
You need to pay $333,000.
You need to pay $333,000. Why not $1 million?
Because when I had told to Katie that the $1 million offer for Dan Markel, I said I was going to pay $333,000. And when she asked me, do you have that much money? And I said, yeah, I could pay it in cash. So she took it as I had cash, and she knew I had a ton of cash in my safe. So she thought I had the cash. I didn't have all that cash. So that's where.
Can you imagine the Latin kings? You know, we know a little bit about Luis Rivera. We haven't really seen Sigfredo Garcia much. We've heard him on the calls and little bits and pieces. But can you imagine them sitting around planning this out, going, hey, yeah. They were going to pay $1 million to get this guy Markel to move down to Miami, and he would commute to his job at Florida State. But what if we go and kill Professor Markel, and then as a threat, we'll say to that dentist, you need to pay $350,000. We thought about what would be fair. And, he was going to pay a third anyway. So let's just ask him for what he was going to pay and forget about his parents, even though we'll threaten to kill them as well. Another member of your family is going to die. Yeah, but just a third. In fact, 33.3% of $1 million.
Where I'm assuming they got the $350,000 from.
But the offer that she bragged about was $1 million offer. Isn't that right? That she ran her mouth about.
I was never there when she spoke to her friend.
Okay, was it $1 million offer?
The offer was that $1 million was going to be paid, and I was going to pay a third of $1 million.
And weren't you going to cover Wendy's third as well?
No, not at all. I was going to cover my third.
Didn't your lawyer say in opening statement that you were going to cover the whole thing for Wendy's third?
No, I was sitting here. I heard what he said. Charlie was going to pay a third of $1 million.
All right. And so the offer was $1 million offer, and that's what you told Katie, along with the fact that you were going to cover the third.
I was telling her that I was going to pay a third of $1 million, yeah. And then one day, if my sister was able to, she was going to pay me back.
And then you didn't have the amount of money that was being demanded at the time, right?
No, I only had what I had.
All right. And at that point, the blackmailer, Catherine Magbanua, negotiates some type of layaway plan for you to complete the extortion with the Latin Kings?
Okay. Katie wasn't the blackmailer, and Katie wasn't the one who was extorting me.
Didn't you just tell this jury that Katie was the blackmailer? You realized it in 2019.
I had thought that when you were just talking, you were talking about 2014. You were talking about that night. Okay. So that night happened in 2014.
Okay. We all know now, because you have revealed the puzzle piece, she's a blackmailer. Can we agree on that?
I believe sitting here in 2023 that she was in on the extortion for sure.
Yes. So is it okay if I refer to her as a blackmailer?
I think there's a difference between blackmail and extortion, but yeah, okay. Sitting here today, we can. Sure.
We'll refer to her as an extortionist. So this woman, the extortionist, is going to do you a solid by negotiating with the Latin Kings for you to get on a payment plan for the extortion. Isn't that what happened?
What you're doing is you're taking what we know in 2003 and trying to say, this is what I knew in 2014.
Did she put you on a payment plan?
Yes, she said, because I didn't have the money, she said, ask me if I could pay $3,000 a month in 2014. And I said, yes, I can. Did
you hear any of the conversation where she was making these negotiations on your behalf?
No, when she said, I'm going to go check with my friend, and if that's okay with him, she took her purse, took her keys, took her cell phone. She walked out of my front door, closed the door behind her, and I sat in my living room, and she came back about 5 minutes later.
You didn't want to talk to the guy yourself?
No, I didn't even think of that. I mean, but she went outside to call him.
All right. And then the two of you took a Xanax and went to sleep.
Well, I took a Xanax. I don't know if she took one out of the bottle, but I definitely did.
And the next morning, she left with your money, right?
She left about 8:30 the next morning.
That's July 19th, 2014?
Correct.
Let's talk about what you did that day. You did not report this to the police because you were in fear, correct?
Absolutely.
And you didn't report this to Wendy, even though, according to you, her life was in danger too, correct?
Hey, Dragonfly, welcome to the party.
Potentially, but I planned on paying the extortion every month.
All right. But you did go to the gym that morning, right? Can we show that text, please? Were you able to go to the gym the next morning?
I absolutely didn't leave the house. I worked it out at Nova Southeastern Gym, and you can check the gym records. I was never there.
Okay. Did you say you were going?
Yeah, you can check the gym records for something that was 9 years ago, and good luck with that.
Went to the gym,
I said I was, yeah.
but you didn't actually go.
No, I didn't leave the house.
All right. So would you agree, Doctor, and we'll refresh your memory with them if we can, that the text messages that were exchanged between yourself and Catherine Magbanua on the morning after this exchange of money were inconsistent with your extortion theory?
They were inconsistent with how I was feeling.
They don't appear to look like you.
Charlie was so broken up by the news of Professor Markel being shot, and that now he's got to pay all this money, and there's a fucking Latin king who's going to shoot him, and he was so broken up by that he thought that the best way to let Katie know that it was business as usual was to text her saying, it's a beautiful day. Are you going to the beach or the pool with the kids? Yeah, that was my way of letting her know that I would never be speaking about this again.
You just gave her $138,000 under duress, do they?
She told me the last thing she said to me before she left the house is, can we just pretend like this never even happened? So when I sent her that message, I was trying to show her, like, I'm trying to forget all about it.
Yeah, you were just demonstrating to her that you would agree to pretend nothing happened, right?
Absolutely. That's what she asked me to do, and that's what I tried to do.
All right. So the text messages aren't what they appear to be. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to the pool. I'm going to the beach. I'm going to the gym. None of that is what it appears to be. It's something else.
I absolutely did not go to the gym. I was trying to show her.
Look at this. Headed to the gym. Are you taking the kids to the beach? It's so nice. It's beautiful. Probably the pool. Nice. Have fun. Ethan must be happy. Just got back from the pool. Hope you're doing okay. I'm okay. Thanks for asking. Just going to try to rest. Yeah. Brackets. I won't be speaking about the extortion or the murder.
Or that I was, pretending like nothing ever happened and looking past it.
And there's nothing on the wire. All those hours of you talking. There is nothing on the wire about the extortion, this layer 1 of extortion, because she told you not to talk about it, right?
She told me to never talk about anything to anyone or her. She never wanted to hear about it again.
And yesterday, in your testimony
Yeah, she never wanted to hear about it again, but she'd be by every Sunday, to pick up the $3,000. Or the third Sunday of the month, whatever, once a month, $3,000 that doesn't come off the principal. That's just,
You and your attorney, you mentioned the word extortion 123 times. Would you take my word for that?
I'm sure it came up a lot.
Okay. But nowhere, even in the midst of this whole second extortion, it's happening again. It's an extension of the same thing. Do you mention anything about this layer 1 of the extortion? Do you?
Yes, actually, I did.
Okay.
If you pull up the video from Matsuri when I was sitting with my dad, and I said, and the funny thing is, that's what I whispered in his ear.
Right, but we can't hear that.
Right, because that's my point. I never wanted anybody to hear what had happened. I never wanted the police to come talk to me. But if you put up that video, you'll actually see me saying that it's my dad's ear, and that's why I went in and said it. And that's what we were talking about at the time. So
At Matsuri, the only time you mention the extortion, it's in a whisper that is not picked up by the microphones, right?
Intentionally, yes.
Yes. And that was intentional at the time, but it sucks for your defense, right? Because that would be a huge piece of evidence for you to show this jury, wouldn't it?
No, I think you'd come up with a reason why that I said it anyway.
And there's nobody.
That Georgia Cappleman, she's always coming up with a reason that he says stuff, like it's going to be Nazi shit, and she's just coming up with reasons all the time. But that's what they do in Tallahassee. They just come up with reasons and then they say them in your murder trial, and it's all corrupt.
Corroborate this testimony?
There is.
Okay. And
Well, thank you, Miss Ann Thorpe.
the Matt Surrey, you talked about it again out in the parking lot, right? Wasn't that your testimony?
Yes, we spoke in the parking lot.
Okay, so you did talk about the extortion.
That's
You just didn't do it in a way that it was captured on any of the recordings in this case.
well, we spoke when we had privacy.
Well, you had privacy on the phone, right?
When?
At least you thought you had privacy on the phone. Every time when you were talking on the phone for
No,
hundreds of hours on this
no.
wire.
There's always a chance that I was being listened to.
Okay.
I mean,
well, there was a chance you were being listened to when you whispered in Dad's ear, right? But you said it. And you were talking about it.
I whispered real quietly into his ear, so I thought I had privacy. At that point, I thought I had privacy.
And Catherine Magbanua and you discussed this first layer of extortion in the car outside of Dolce Vita too, right?
That's when I found out everything that was going on, and she opened up when I
But
confronted
if
her.
this jury could hear that conversation recorded, we would all be hearing basically what you're telling us, that there was an extortion effort that predated the undercover operation. Wouldn't
Right.
we?
Because I was trying to see if Sigfredo was behind the extortion of my mom, because I knew he was behind. I always had a feeling he was behind what happened to me, and she was having this explosive fight with him, and it was going on the same exact time that my mom started getting extorted. So I thought that he was going after my mom.
Don't you wish that that conversation in the car had been recorded?
I don't know.
Wouldn't it prove your theory?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ian. I don't know if all of our viewers know that it's my third time I've fallen asleep midstream and started snoring. So if anyone would like to keep me awake and support the channel, you can buy me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com to keep us awake and to keep the lights on. Link in the description, guys. There's also a link to Patreon and the Discord. The Discord where we all chat about the case, and it's fantastic. There's emojicons. I still haven't really worked out what it's for. It's just a chat room, but it's not on YouTube, and we can do it all day, guys. All the top fans are there, and all the top fans are buying coffees. So head on over to buymeacoffee.com and yeah, or super chat, super thanks, super chat, super stickers. All ways that you can support the channel. If you can't afford that, just like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, tell everybody, tell your priest, tell your dog to tell all dogs.
Talking about the
If I
prior
think about it,
extortion.
then you know exactly what happened back then.
But unfortunately, it wasn't recorded. And then everything that was recorded inside the restaurant, you don't mention it, right?
I'm speaking very carefully. I mean, I was still, even when I was in the car with Katie, she was doing most of the talking. That was the first time she really opened up, and I think I caught her off guard. I was still, even when I spoke to her in the car, I was real careful. I said, was T behind what happened to me? Like, I wouldn't even say the words to her when I was in the car.
Okay.
All of Charlie's lies are really phrased in ways that you can't really imagine someone saying in reality. Was T behind what happened to me? Nothing happened to you, man. Did you get a bullet in your head? Was T behind what happened to me? Okay, the extortion in his story. But like, let's not lose focus here, Charlie. Professor Markel was shot in the face or the back of the head or whatever. You know, he's dead. Was T behind what happened to me? I mean, it's ridiculous.
And was T behind what happened to me? Do you say anything anywhere on the wire about referencing what happened to me? Meaning what happened to me before?
No, because that was the only time I ever confronted her. But I did actually when I would be on the wire with my mom, and I would say it's not the same person. Like, that was in reference to what happened to me, and she knew that.
What call do you say it's not the same person?
Okay, you want to know what call? It was
Yeah.
Tuesday, the 26th. And I said it's at the end of the call. It was a 2-minute and something call.
April 26th?
April 26, 2016. It was a 2-minute and something call. It was towards the very end. And I go, I know it's not done like this. It's 48 hours, just enough time.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, I've memorized all the calls and documents. I can date stamp, timestamp, tell you the duration, what was discussed, and that just demonstrates to the jury that I'm full of shit because I've really studied and prepared. And I thought that was an asset to my defense, but actually it makes me look fucking awful.
Not the same person. So you can look it up.
Okay, I'm with you. It's not the same person you were referencing as the person that blackmailed me years ago and has been blackmailing me for years.
Yeah,
That's what you meant.
It's not the same person that's extorting me, correct?
All right. So I want to go back to Wendy. Wendy is in the process of relocating from Tallahassee to South Florida, basically the day that this is going on, day after the money drop, right?
They're packing up the car. They're coming back. Yeah.
Right. So she's going to be moving significantly closer to the killers that had threatened her life.
This what I don't she wasn't planning it wasn't a permanent move or anything that was planned. I think she took a suitcase with her.
Yeah,
But
she's going to be moving in right next door to Luis Rivera into his seedy Cuban neighborhood. No one is Cuban in the room, guys.
she's your family member, yes. She's much closer to the one they've already killed than you, right?
Say it again.
She's much closer. She's got much deeper connections to the person they've already killed. That's Dan Markel than you do.
Right.
I mean, there's a reason to fear for her safety because these killers have come, they've just killed Dan, and now they're saying they're going to kill another one. It could be Wendy, right?
She has no idea what's going on.
Exactly. But you let her move from Tallahassee to Miami where you knew the killers were located. That's my point. Do you agree with that?
The killers were able to find Dan Markel in Tallahassee. They have a car.
They were. But would you rather live in Tallahassee or in Miami if the killers are in Miami?
I think if these people want to find you, they'll find you.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think. I mean, looking at Luis Rivera, I don't think a distance would stop them.
Okay. Where did Wendy and the boys live when she first moved to South Florida?
When she first moved to South Florida,
I love it when he gets all serious, like really trying to hit home the lie. I think if these people want to find you, they'll find you. A distance means nothing. Having Luis Rivera behind bars means nothing. If you think he can't send someone from the outside, you're wrong. And George is like, okay, so has anybody been killed in the last 24 hours? Because you told everyone yesterday, right?
she moved in with my parents into a small apartment. They actually had to get another apartment because that one was too small.
With your parents?
She moved in with them, yeah.
And I want to talk about the cameras.
Yeah,
You bought
they had to get another apartment because their apartment was too small. They had an 18-bedroom penthouse, but it only had 7 bathrooms. So obviously they needed to upgrade.
cameras for the Adelson Institute and your home at Whale Harbor, right?
Yes.
The camera system, yeah. All right. And what about Wendy's? I guess she didn't have a place. So like wherever she was staying with your parents, were cameras installed there as well at that same time frame that you installed these cameras?
No, I never told her what happened, but they lived in a very secure building.
Isn't it true, Doctor, that you'd been planning to install those cameras for some time before the murder?
I actually already had cameras at my house that I had installed in 2008. The technology from 2008 to 2014 had changed a lot when it came to cameras.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think you mentioned all that on direct. I'm referring to this particular update that was done post-homicide. You were in communication with this camera guy, and I think your lawyer mentioned this. You had 84 text messages with him dating back to January 20th of 2014. in regards to the update that occurred post-murder. Do you agree with that?
I know there was always talk that we were going to get cameras in the office, and we just never got around to it. When this happened, that week, within probably 3 days, I called the camera guy up and I said, I want to get cameras in my house and my new cameras for my house, and I want to get cameras in my office. How soon can you come out and do it? And then he came out, I'd say 4 or 5 days after that, bought the equipment and installed it that week.
Did you hire a private investigator to help you with this whole problem you were having?
With the extortion?
Yes.
No, I didn't tell anybody.
Did you get a bodyguard?
No, I carried a gun on me, and I always sleep with a gun next to me in bed, and I carried a gun on my person and had a gun in my car at all times.
Do you recall a statement you made on the Dolce Vita recording that said you were going to start carrying a gun?
Yeah, because for a long time, after this happened, I was carrying a gun, and it's uncomfortable, and I don't always like carrying a gun. So I hadn't carried a gun in a while, and I was going to start carrying one again.
But you did say in 2016, I'm going to start carrying one.
Yeah, I carried probably for about 4 to 6 months after this happened, and I wear scrubs, so the gun that I had can kind of stick out.
Yeah, the No Further Questions podcast says, he said Latin kings can get you anywhere, then follows that up with, but my family live in a very secure building. And they never go out. It's bunker style Adelsons from now on. We just order Deliveroo and Uber Eats, and we just stay indoors, constantly looking through the blinds of our high rise with a telescope, looking for any Latin king that might be on the street.
Out, and it's uncomfortable. I prefer not to carry a gun.
So you quit carrying it, but during the time you were still paying the extortion money.
Yes.
All right. And the extortion money that you were paying, $3,000 a month, that wasn't going towards the principal of whatever was left on the.
And he says, yeah, I had to stop carrying a gun because it wasn't very comfortable to wear at work under my scrubs when I was in surgery. You know.
$333,000, right? Didn't you testify to that?
This AI tool will take your idea and create a complete book, complete with design, images.
Correct.
All right. So you never came up with the remaining bulk of the money that you owed.
Never.
And nobody ever came after you for that?
No, they said you could pay it all off and it'll be done, or just pay $3,000 a month. So I thought about paying the full amount.
All right. Then a couple weeks later, after the initial extortion, you and Catherine Magbanua broke up, according to your direct. Do I have that right?
That's not correct.
Oh, when did you break up?
Within a week, I met her. We went out to dinner. We went out to eat, and I just said, "This has got to end."
All right. So you broke up with her.
Yes.
Weren't you scared that if you broke up with her, that she would sick the Latin kings on you?
No, because I had every intention of paying every month. When I broke up with her and I said, listen, I don't want to surround myself with this. I'm scared. She said that she was going to come every month and pick up the money and protect me. And she understood. I mean, our relationship was on the rocks.
But you've testified that all the gifts and stuff that you gave her.
Yeah, our relationship was definitely on the rocks, you know, because when we got together, I wasn't really looking for someone who would murder my sister's ex-husband and then threaten my life for $250,000. It wasn't high on the list for what I was looking for in a partner. So when that happened, you know, it just started to fall apart.
Keep her happy, right?
Yeah, when I realized that she's the one who's protecting me and she wasn't a part of this extortion, I had no problem keeping her happy, and I looked for things to do, nice things to do for her because she was broke.
But not worried about pissing her off by breaking up with her.
Well, our relationship was definitely on the rocks. After July 1st, when Sigfredo cut me off and threatened me and called my dad, and then She knew I didn't even invite her to my dad's birthday party, which was a family gathering with family friends on July 5th. She knew we were going to be done.
After you broke up with Catherine Magbanua a week after the murder, did you continue to talk to her?
We still communicated for sure.
Talk on the phone?
And texted, yeah.
And meet up?
No, the only time I would see her was I saw her again the end of August. She came and picked up the money. And that's when she asked me if I could put her on the books because none of this money was going to her and she needed to get health insurance for her kids. So I said, yeah, I'll do it and help you out.
And did you continue to hook up with her after the breakup? And by that, I mean, have sex with her.
There was one occasion. There was one time that we hooked up.
Okay. When was that?
I want to say it was probably about 5 months after we broke it up.
Okay. Well, there was one other occasion before that in October of 2014. Do you recall that? October 9th of 2014?
That's probably the occasion I'm talking about. This July, when they count the months, July, August, September, October. So 4 months.
Okay. And then there's another one on October 15th. You remember that one?
No, I think we did hook up about one time.
Okay. Well, one time on October 9th and one time on October 15th.
I thought it was one time. If it was 2 times, it's been.
Could it have been 2 times?
But no more.
Okay. And on August 25th, 14, that would have been after the breakup, right?
That's another tip for spotting liars, guys, is when someone is doing that thing where they go, no, I think it was one time. It could have been 2, but no more than 2. It's like, if you think about it, you will know the answer. He does it a lot. He does. What's the other thing he says? Oh, he says another thing. We'll find it, guys. We'll find it.
Yeah.
You text her, and then she replies, I don't need help. I'm good. Don't need favors, nor will I trust anyone again. Erase my number, please. Go on with your life like you did already and have been doing. Sorry we spoke today. I don't want to stress your life more. Don't do anything for me. Do you remember?
Isn't that such an obvious text that he's been seeing another woman and she's found out and is really pissed off? That's what it is, A cigar is a cigar.
Remember receiving that text from Catherine Magbanua?
Yeah, sounds familiar.
And that's a pretty weird text to get from the extortionist. You're meeting her to give her money. Why is she saying erase my number?
She's not the extortionist.
Okay. On
In
9/11,
in 2014, I didn't think she was the extortionist.
right, but it's been revealed that she was.
In 2019, so you're taking what was known in 2019, and you're trying to say I knew what I knew in 19.
I'm not trying to say you knew. I'm trying to say she knew. She knew she was the extortionist. Why is she telling you to erase her number and leave her alone?
Because I broke up with her.
Exactly. On 9/11 of 14, she sends you #bestie for life. Do you remember that?
It sounds familiar.
So did you all have some kind of reconciliation after the breakup?
No, I was probably doing a favor and making her happy with something.
On
Probably borrowed some
10/6
money.
of 2014, I love you. It makes me feel good that you care about me. I'm lucky to have you as part of my life. Do you remember sending that to her?
Yeah.
On 10/9 of 14, I mentioned the sex talk. I won't go into the details of it. Again, 10/15, more sex talk. 10/20.
I bet the sex talk is fucking hilarious. What were they saying? I'm kind of glad she doesn't read it out, though. Does anyone have that?
23 of 14. Thank you again for everything you're doing for my mommy. She sends you that. What were you doing for her mother?
I don't know. I think I did a consult for her, but I didn't do anything for her mom.
224 of 15, you agree that she always knows how to make you smile, and you say, I love you to her. Remember that?
Yeah, I cared a lot about Katie, and I didn't think that she was a part of it. So I was always trying to keep her happy and make her happy. And I felt like she got caught up, dragged into something that she shouldn't have been dragged into.
Okay, maybe, but she dragged you into it as well.
I didn't see it like that at all. And our relationship actually got stronger. You know, initially when I got extorted, I had limited contact with her and I was cold to her. And then over time, I realized that she's the one who's protecting me and she's not involved with these people because the extortion never went up and Katie was always broke.
She was involved with them because she had a child with the guy, right?
I didn't know for sure it was him,
but you suspected always that it was him.
I always suspected that Sigfredo was behind this.
So wouldn't you want to distance yourself from this woman who, I mean, were you ever really that serious about her to begin with?
I mean, we spent 7-8 months together.
But you were never considering marrying her.
No, I wasn't considering.
I mean,
that.
you were a playboy, right? You had a zillion girlfriends.
That is actually not even true.
Okay. Did you have a lot of girlfriends?
I had 2 girlfriends in the 2 or 3 years after her. I dated Whitney Kick for 9 months.
Okay, but how many women were you talking to and engaging with sexually? A lot more than Whitney Kick, right?
There could have been 1 or 2.
Or more?
No.
Okay. Point being, you were not going to marry Catherine Magbanua.
I wasn't having marriage plans, no.
Okay. And you have now broken up with her after this incident.
Yes.
She's the person that's taking the money from you physically.
She's the one. I looked at it as she's the one who's protecting me. If she wasn't, I was going to get a visit from
Is she
somebody.
the one that was physically taking the money?
Yes.
Is she the one that was connected to the person you suspected to have killed your brother-in-law?
I thought she was tied to that person, yes.
And she's the one that got you into this, right? Because she ran her mouth, right?
And I looked at that I ran my mouth too. And if I never said anything to her, this would never have happened. So I felt responsible for saying something to her in the first place.
Anna Fenton, what was calming? Listening to me sleep? It's really strange to know that people in 3 continents can hear you sleeping. It's my own fault. But it is a kind of a weird concept, isn't it? But anyway, glad you guys had fun in the chat. It was really active. I just went through the messages this morning and it was like, yeah, there was no lull in the chat at all. Have at it, guys.
But you didn't feel responsible enough to try to do anything about her sitting in jail, an innocent woman, for 3 years. Did you?
She never contacted me.
You didn't offer to testify in her trial. You let her get convicted and get life in prison, didn't you?
I thought the truth was going to come out.
But not through you.
I was never contacted. I thought it was going to come out through her.
Was there any contact between your lawyers and her lawyers?
You'd have to ask them.
You said you didn't have any contact with her. Did you have any contact?
Zero contact with her.
So your lawyers didn't tell you anything on behalf of her lawyers?
Absolutely not.
And her lawyers didn't hear anything from your lawyers?
I don't know what lawyers talk about, but I can tell you that I never talked to Katie and I never told my lawyers.
You never relayed a message through your lawyers that the Adelson family would not be talking in this case?
And absolutely not.
And she had nothing to worry about as far as...
Dragonfly, yeah, I love that Charlie... Dragonfly Lily says, I love that Charlie thinks he nailed this cross-examination, lol. I know, right? And Donna as well. Donna's at home watching this right now like she's watching the friggin' Super Bowl, going, yes, Charlie, you got another one, Charlie. Like he's walking all over Georgia Cappleman. You'd need shoes that were so big that to do that, I mean, it's just not possible. But he thinks he's winning. He thinks the jury are like, yeah, he's got an answer for everything. So he must be telling the truth. Incredible. The lack of insight these guys have into how they're seen by others is amazing. I've never seen anything quite like it.
As that end was concerned.
That's not true at all.
Did you or your agent contact her brother to offer to assist with her attorney's fees in her case?
That's a complete lie.
On 10/27 of 15, you say you can't wait to get lunch with her. She's the best, and you're lucky to have her as a friend for life. Did you say that?
Yes.
10/27/15, you can't wait to get lunch with her. 10/30/15, you tell her you miss her. 12/9 of 15, again, you tell her she's the best.
Yeah, I said all those things.
Do you agree that this picture does not look like a relationship between an extortionist and her victim?
I agree, because Katie wasn't the extortionist.
She was the extortionist.
In 2014 and
No.
2015, I didn't believe that.
I know you didn't believe it, but we're looking back now. Okay.
You know, it's like if you're going to quote me, date me. Like at what I knew. And
If you're going to quote me, date me, because I've prepared and I've studied, and you have to quote me, and then you date me. God, imagine Charlie and Georgia actually on a date, a first date, a Tinder match, guys. How would that go?
in 2014 and what I knew in 2015 is not what I know now in 2023.
Okay, yes, I hear you. You didn't know then, and that's why you were nice to her.
Yeah, I thought she was protecting me.
Got it. And none of those factors that I pointed out weighed into that consideration, that she ran her mouth, that she brought the Latin Kings on you, she was taking the money from you. None of that counterbalanced it. You were still going to be friends with her and keep her happy.
You're wrong. I didn't know about the Latin Kings in 2014 or 2015.
All right. The love text, which is what I'm referring to all these texts where you're still nice to this person after you break up with her. You're still doing favors for this person after you break up with her. I mean, that's like a major problem for your defense, isn't it?
No, our relationship got stronger. I agree. Our relationship got stronger, but it was much different.
Isn't that why she has to be an innocent conduit between you and the bad guys? Because if those texts didn't exist, she would be the extortionist and the bad actor in this whole thing, right?
I'm not following your theory.
You have to explain away those texts, don't you, Doctor?
No, I have to sit here and tell you the truth. And now you're finding it out.
Most people don't send kissy faces to people that are
Yeah, guys, make sure to click the like button. It really helps us with the algorithm, and subscribe to the channel, because we're soon to be revisiting the entire 6-part Wendy Adelson interview. Now that our audience has grown so much, it's going to be interesting to see how that live chat goes. We're going to be starting with part 1, then we're going to be moving on to part 2, 3, all the way up to 6. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support the channel, there's a link to buymeacoffee.com in the description for the video, or you can send a super chat or a super thanks or a super sticker. Options are there.
extorting money out of them. I mean, she was taking your money.
Again, Ms. Cappleman, she was not extorting me at the time.
That's not how it's done, is it?
I'm telling you how it was done.
So then over these next 2 years,
I love how Charlie Adelson saw himself as this criminology expert, That's not how it's done. That's not what a criminal would do. It must be the FBI.
you would meet her monthly and hand over a bundle of checks and $3,000 in cash, right?
No, you're wrong.
Okay, tell me.
I would hand
No,
over
wrong.
$2,000 in cash and a bundle of checks.
$2,000 in cash and a bundle of checks. And so over the course of 2 years, I'm terrible at math, but that's roughly how much money? Because I think I did $3,000. It's $48,000 in cash, in addition to the $138 you provided the night of. Do you agree with that?
If your math is correct, I'm just telling you what I paid her each month.
And the checks, which is another $17,000, right?
You're doing the math.
Okay. It was a lot of money. Was it a lot of money to you?
It was a lot of money to me, yeah. I work hard.
Did the extortionists, whoever they were, ever try to increase the payments or come for more money?
The extortion never went up, and Katie was always broke. And that's what led me to think that she was not a part of this, because she could have easily jacked up the payments.
Well, she's sharing $3,000 a month with a bunch of other people, right? At least one other person.
I didn't think she was sharing it. Why is she coming to me for $300 for her kid's birthday?
Because she's broke.
Because she wasn't getting any of the
Because
money.
half of $3,000 doesn't do much when you're living in Miami with 2 kids to feed, right?
I didn't
And
think
not
she was
working.
sharing anything.
Well, even if she was sharing it, that's your point. She must not have been taking the money because she was broke. And my point is, she could have been taking half the money and been broke.
That's not how
It's
I
not a
saw
lot
it.
of money.
That's not how I saw it.
Tell me about Dan Markel a little bit.
Yeah.
What?
Charlie's like, that's not how I saw it. That's not how I saw it when I was prepping this story from behind bars, writing it down on my toilet paper. I didn't think you'd actually think of it from a logical perspective. It sounded good in my mind, so it's what I went with. And Dan Rashbaum agreed. He said I was a genius. He said it was a sure thing that we would win if we hired him for $1 million and his buddy Josh.
You sort of said, what I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, was he was, a nice enough guy, typical Wendy boyfriend, but not really your kind of guy.
Yeah, I think it's an accurate description.
Right. Do you agree that he was this brilliant legal mind?
I think he was a little on the nerdy, nice guy.
Yeah. Do you agree that he was this brilliant legal mind? I think he was a little on the nerdy, nice guy. Oh my God, you're so convincing, Charlie.
Just kind of like the average guy that my sister dated.
Not the kind of guy you want to have a beer with, though.
We never had a beer together. I mean, not that I wouldn't have had a beer if he wanted to have one. We just didn't have that much in common, but he was always nice to me.
Do you appreciate the fact that his death was a terrible loss to his sons?
It was horrible.
Do you think they were better off without him?
Absolutely not.
Did you host a celebration?
Charlie, the line is absolutely no. Did you have anything to do with the death of Professor Markel? Absolutely no.
Dinner after his murder?
That's a complete lie.
On The Wire, would you agree that the Markel boys were in the background pretty much of every call you had with your mom? I mean, we hear them a lot, right?
My sister was working, so my parents would help my.
Neverly says, would it have killed him to be respectful to Dan? And what he's trying to do, Neverly, is act like that Dan, Professor Markel wasn't anything to him, good or bad. It was just like, he was a nice guy. I didn't really, hang out with him. I didn't think about him. I thought about my dentists and my women and my Ferrari and my jet ski. Do you think he ever wanted to take Professor Markel out on the jet ski? No.
Sister out, yeah.
Yeah, and it was summertime, so they were out of school, I would assume.
I don't know if it was every call, but they definitely helped my sister out for sure.
All right, and those calls captured Donna pushing them on the swings, that call that tortured all of us a couple times. Remember that one?
Yeah, there was a call where she was pushing them on the swings.
Taking them to tennis lessons.
That was the same day. I mean, that was the same call that got broken up, and she called me back. But yes,
doing their bedtime routine,
helping my sister out for sure.
Reading stories, brushing teeth, getting haircuts, going to piano, story time and bedtime, all of that kind of stuff.
all stuff that parents and grandparents do. You're right.
All right. She even said to you on one of the calls regarding.
Yeah, Neverly, that's what he was doing, trying to sound indifferent. And it just came across as they just have no idea how they come across to normal people, society.
Regarding the bedtime routine that, quote,
Matt Taormina, I never remember this guy's name. Matt Taormina, the Italian stallion. Yeah, he has a way of putting everybody to sleep, especially me.
but we have a whole routine going. Do you remember that?
I have a whole routine with my son. I mean, I think it's normal with kids. You have a routine to put them to bed.
Right.
You
All
gotta
the
brush
kind
your
of
teeth.
things.
Can't forget to brush your teeth.
All the, yeah. Well, dental humor couldn't hurt, right?
What's that?
All the things that your mom wouldn't have been able to do as readily if the kids were living in Tallahassee. Agree with that?
I mean, when they come up to visit them, they'd be doing.
What was Charlie hoping for with that dental humor? Well, I have a routine with my son. Brush your teeth. You can't forget to brush your teeth. Was he hoping that the jury would go, oh, look at this nice, gentle dentist dad? Like that they would picture him brushing the teeth of his 5-year-old?
Doing the same thing.
Sure, when they came up to visit, but now they're doing it every day, right? Almost every day.
Not every day, but when my sister needed them, she helped them out.
And these are all things, these little routine things that Dan Markel will never be able to do with his sons. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Does your mom have a favorite child?
She says she doesn't have favorites, but I don't think she likes my older brother.
Okay. But is Wendy the favorite?
Yeah, she definitely doesn't like the older brother, Robert. And why not? Well, he decided that he didn't want to play our game of mind control, world domination, corruption. He wanted to live an honest life. Sucker.
I'd like to think it's a tie between me and her.
Does your mom worry more about Wendy than you? Let's
I don't really get.
before this case.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't. I think maybe in different parts of my life, she's probably more concerned about me. Different parts of my sister's life, she may be more concerned about her.
Is it true that your mom has a tendency to worry herself sick if there's something going on with one of you kids?
No, I mean, she's a concerned mom, but I think she's a normal mom.
Was she pretty worried about Wendy's marital problems?
No,
She wasn't.
I think she'd get upset when my sister would tell her things that Danny was doing and going to work, bad mouthing her. But I think any parent would get upset.
But also she would meticulously go through all the filings and send long emails detailing her thoughts.
Just a little thought on Robert, guys. Does anyone know or have an opinion? Are we going to see Robert as a witness in Donna's trial? Why would that happen? Also, I think we might see victim advocate Sarah, the girl, the young woman who was victim advocate to Wendy in her interrogation. I think we might also see Tamara Dempko, who took it upon herself to drive round to Wendy's house following the murder when Donna and Harvey were there and witnessed her view of events, could tell that Harvey was, what was it she said? That she knew that Harvey knew she knew. If you can follow that one. And that Donna was acting appropriately normal for the situation. So she's witnessed something, right? I think she's going to be have some probative value to the prosecution. And I can't wait to see her. I think she's gorgeous.
Thoughts about every filing in this divorce.
No, I don't think that's the case at all.
Okay. Did she hate Dan Markel?
I think she liked him in the beginning, for sure. And I think when he was being a jerk to my sister, I don't think anyone particularly liked him when he was being a jerk.
What about the time around the time that he was killed? Did your mother hate Dan Markel?
No.
Yeah, I don't think anyone liked him when he refused to let us have our own way and, take his children all the way down to Miami, which is like a 9-hour drive from his home. I don't think anyone liked him when he wanted his Holocaust diamond ring back and, when he stuck up for himself in the litigation process of the divorce and wanted to play things fairly and not be ridden out of town on a rail.
It kind of like tapered off. I think she only disliked him when he was being mean to my sister. Other than that, nobody had a problem.
He
with
was
him.
being mean to your sister during these divorce proceedings and subsequent litigation, right?
I think it was on and off. I think it was sporadic.
And when your mom's worried about Wendy, does she come to you for solutions or to talk things out?
No, I don't think worried is the right word to describe it.
Does she ever make Wendy's problems your problems?
No.
Like convincing you to get Wendy to pull the plug on the house on Halloween 2013? Didn't she convince you to sort of take up that cause?
No, that was actually me. I thought I shared my thoughts on home ownership for my sister. That was all me.
Didn't you say that if she had bought that house, that would have been the second worst decision of Wendy's life?
I thought it was going to be a stupid decision to buy that house.
And what was the first worst decision of Wendy's life?
Oh, I thought looking at hindsight 2020, I think when she'd agreed when she married Dan.
And did you convince her to take a particular job as well? Remember that call?
Yeah, she got an offer from a law firm and she was debating whether or not she should take it. She didn't know if it was exactly what she wanted to do. And I was like, hey, you don't know what you don't like doing until you've done it. Seems like a great opportunity. Like, why not do it? Learn the job skill. It's a skill you don't. And she's like, well, I don't have that skill. And I'm like, well, it's a good opportunity to learn it and you may like it. And if you don't like it, then try something else. But I was trying to encourage her to take what sounded like a great opportunity.
And Mom shared your thoughts, and I'm referring to Donna Adelson, shared your thoughts about this opportunity being a good one for Wendy, right?
I probably heard about the job from my mom, but I definitely heard about it from my sister because I'm talking to my sister about it.
Yeah, I mean, the job was not what she had any experience in, right? It was a whole nother field of law.
Then that was my point. It was like, well, why not take it if they're offering it to you and you can learn something new? It sounds like a great opportunity.
Do you and Donna know what's best for Wendy better than she knows herself?
No, but not at all.
Were you a spy when it came to Wendy? Did you get information from Wendy and relay it to Donna?
At times, because I was dating Bree and Bree worked for Dave. So I would hear stuff about Dave from Bree. So I kind of had an inside, I got inside information.
In what capacity did Bree work for Dave?
Dave was his, after she graduated from college, she was working as a nanny for Dave.
All right. And how old was Bree during the time you were dating her? Was she significantly younger than you?
She was 24 and I was 39.
Is Bree the mother of your child?
I think that would raise an eyebrow or two, right? 24 and 39. I mean, I'm 37. I wouldn't want to date a 24-year-old. That's just, well, would I? I don't think so. No.
She is the mother of my child, yeah.
All right, so back to Wendy and Donna. So Wendy, was she tight-lipped with Donna about her private life?
I don't think she shared everything.
But she would tell things to you that she wouldn't tell to Donna.
I can't say that for sure.
Can you play clip 1, please? Publishing call EEE. EEE. Please. Yeah,
E.
would you? That'd be great. Please go to 209.
Where are you going?
On this way, just stop off at there and fast. Anyway, so I just put the date now.
Oh, did you?
So I just called him an old fart. And everybody, she's a few months older than me. But so actually, for his birthday, it turns out Wendy's making him a little party in Fleetwood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Wendy goes like very tight-lipped.
You're not kidding.
So what you need to do is, she's obviously tight-lipped for a reason, is because she doesn't want you to know anything.
Anything.
So my point is, if she doesn't want you to know anything, then don't ask anything.
I don't
If
know.
she's happy,
Yeah,
and then I can find everything out and just tell you.
I know. It's great.
So I was like, so what are you doing for your birthday? It's like, well, Wendy's making me like a little birthday dinner, a little get-together party. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. He's like, yeah, she's doing it. He's like, I don't know anything. All I know is Wendy's putting it together for me, and she's doing it in Woodwood.
Aw.
So I'm like, oh, that sounds awesome.
All I knew is that she was going straight from work to the hotel where everybody is meeting for the this Miami Fellows thing that she got. And that she was going to be there tonight because it starts early, first thing tomorrow morning.
Right.
I guess in between, she managed to do something else. Which makes me happy. I'm really glad.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't imagine. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, he sounded good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember yesterday saying you were telling a story about Katie coming in from having had some kind of altercation with Garcia, and she had reported that the necklace had been pulled off her neck. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
All right. And when you were relaying that story to the jury, you used a specific term describing what Garcia had done to her. Do you remember what that term was?
It was only yesterday, but you'll have to refresh.
Look at Rashbaum. This is his best I'm paying attention face. He hasn't objected once. I mean, what would he object to with Georgia? There's nothing. And Georgia doesn't really object very often either. It's kind of a sleepy trial in that regard, huh? But Rashbaum doesn't care. He doesn't even care professionally. He's catalog shopping in his mind. He's thinking, yes, what about the credenza? Should we get a credenza?
My memory how I described it.
You said he roughed her up.
What kind of china pattern should I get for the dinner plates? Should I go for the Versace? I should go for the Versace. Yes. 14 plates of the Versace dinner plates.
That's accurate.
And that put my antenna out because that roughed up.
Yes. The above ground pool is far too tacky. And with the money I'm making from this, we can afford to sink that baby right into the ground. Yes, a diving board and a Swedish sauna. Yes, attached to the pool. We could put that right in the pool house. Oh no, but then where would we put the guest bedroom? We will build a new guest bedroom adjacent to the pool house. Yes.
Them up is the exact same phrase that Catherine Magbanua said in her proffer that you used on Halloween 2013 when you first approached her about, does she know anyone who can rough someone up?
I want Rashbound thinking and listening as my screensaver. if a screensaver's a thing anymore, don't you remember how exciting that was? When you could, do all these different things with a screensaver. And it used to be all that you could do on a computer was browse the screensavers and select one. And then you felt like really cool when you found a good one. Does anyone remember that time?
No, I think beginning roughed up is an adjective, but what you're doing is the same thing you did with your TV theory. Is like you heard TV mentioned multiple times, so you put the
Getting roughed up is a phrase. And if you're going to equate it to an adjective, I'd say it's more of a verb, right? To be roughed up. Rough someone up is a doing word, a verb.
whole case together with the TV.
Okay,
Now
we'll
you're
get
putting
to
the
the
whole case
TV.
together with the word roughed up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
think
not
if
putting the whole case together,
One moment. Don't speak over each other.
but that's an
Please wait for him to answer, then you can ask your next question. Go ahead.
but that's an
Ooh, little slap on the wrist there, Georgia. Let's see that again.
Don't speak over each other.
roughed up, so you put the whole case together with the TV.
okay.
Now
We'll
you're
get
putting
to
the
the
whole-
TV.
One moment. Don't speak over each other.
But that's
Please
an
wait for him to answer, then you can ask your next question. Go ahead.
but that's an unusual. I mean, it's a specific term. I'm not making a whole case out of it. But did you say roughed up in both places?
Katie was roughed up by Sigfredo when he tore the necklace off of her neck. Yes.
And isn't that the same term you used when you first broached Catherine Magbanua about did she know someone who could rough up someone else?
Never in my life have I ever asked her that question. Never in my life. That conversation never took place.
Did you ever hear Donna Adelson refer to Dan Markel as stupid?
No.
Were you laughing when Wendy was on the stand and I read all the names that Donna referred to Dan Markel as?
No, I laughed when you said the word fucker in court.
Okay. What did she,
I laughed when you said the word fucker in court.
she mean when she said Dan Markel was trying to take her sunshines away? Do you know?
My mom never said that.
No. So you never heard her say
that was made up, and he put it in a court filing, and then now it becomes something that my mom said because someone made it up and put it in a court filing. My mom never said that.
Did your mom refer to the children as her sunshines?
No, the kids were 3 and 4. A 3 and 4-year-old can't repeat a conversation and remember words 6 hours later and repeat it accurately. I have a 5-year-old son. Never seen a 3 and 4-year-old do that. So it was made up, and now you're repeating it.
Okay. Have you been a good brother to Wendy?
I always try to be a good brother.
It sounds like maybe you're not agreeing that this was a really nasty divorce, or are you agreeing it was a nasty divorce?
I mean, I don't think any divorces can be pleasant, but I think they definitely had their fights. I mean, they were fighting over bicycles and all kinds of crap.
But in addition to that, Dan Markel accused your sister of fraud, right?
He made an accusation, yeah.
Threatened her with federal kidnapping charges.
Oh, that's a new one. You just told me.
That one's in the emails that are in evidence. Did you review those?
I didn't review the federal kidnapping charges in this case.
Was seeking contempt proceedings. You heard about that here in court, yes?
I heard about that, yeah.
Even went after her lawyer personally, right?
He made serious threats against her lawyer.
And her bar card could have been in jeopardy if any of those or some of them.
I heard the other day she was saying that I guess her lawyer, he was threatening her lawyer's bar card.
Her lawyer's bar card as well as Wendy's.
He was making lots of threats and writing lots of stuff, I guess.
Yeah, this thing about Rabbit saying, oh, it's Rabbit Incorporated tonight. Ooh, fancy. Yeah, this thing about Lincoln breaking the TV. I just imagine this like 3-year-old toddler with a fucking crowbar walking around, vandalizing the household technology items. What's going to be next week? He's going for the blender. He's going to get that NutriBullet with a baseball bat.
Yes.
And he messed with your mom too, didn't he? In that grandma motion, you know which one I'm talking about?
I don't think he was messing with my mom. I mean, nobody took that seriously, and I don't think anyone even knew about it.
Is it your mom? I'm sorry, finish.
I said I don't think anyone even knew about it till years later.
Isn't your mom notorious for always getting worked up about everything?
She gets upset. I mean, she's a concerned mom. I mean,
but is she notorious for getting really worked up about everything?
To a certain extent. I mean,
aren't those your own words from Call S that's in evidence in this case?
Yeah, those are my words, but you can't, not to an extreme, but she does worry, especially when like Latin King gang members are extorting her for money.
Did your mom take the grandma motion seriously?
I don't think she even knew about it.
She didn't talk to you about it?
No, I didn't find out about it till years later.
Wasn't this divorce a big deal in your family?
It didn't affect my life, I can tell you that. So I don't think that's true. I think it was a big deal in my sister's life.
Why did Wendy testify that she was getting along well with Dan Markel just prior to his death? Can we agree that's not true?
I think there were ups and downs in how they got along. I mean, you got to ask her. She was on the stand. I mean, I wasn't living her life.
Is it part of your defense to minimize how nasty and contentious this divorce was?
My defense is to tell the truth.
Lines like that really mean nothing, don't they? My defense is to tell the truth, like I was sworn to do. I'm a truth teller. I mean, what does that mean? Listen, buddy, if you don't lie your way out of this, you're going to jail forever. Never getting out. This is Florida, baby. They don't fool around down there, okay? There's no, well, maybe he should only have 25 years. Which would put him at, 73 years old. He's almost as old as Harvey when he gets out. There's none of that. It's life. Full life. The only way you are getting out of jail, ma'am, is in a box. It's funny that Rashbaum hit that line hard so home. Hit that line home so hard. Am I falling asleep already? Soap, am I dreaming? Because that's what happened to Charlie. So, and Katie might score some deal where she could only do the 30 years or something. I mean, who knows what she's got coming? She's got more to say in Donna's trial, in Wendy's trial. She's still going to be a key witness in those trials. She's going to score a deal somewhere along the line, but Charlie's not. Georgia Cappleman wouldn't make a deal with him on general principle. I think she'd let Wendy go to keep him in. I mean, maybe not. Georgia's coming for Wendy. Hey, Riding Shotgun, thanks so much for the super sticker. You are a legend and a star, and we love you. If anyone else would like to support the channel, guys, we've got a link to buymeacoffee.com where you can buy us a coffee and make a donation to the site or the channel to help us buy our equipment that we're going to need to make our production values even better than they are, to keep us stocked up on coffee so we don't fall asleep midstream like we've done 3 times already. I know some of you like listening to me sleep, and that's a little weird. It's okay. Whatever floats your boat is good with us. But also, if you're looking for a nice free way that doesn't cost you any money to support the channel, you can click like right now. There's 63 people in the stream, but only 28 likes on the video. Come on, guys, you can do better than that. Why don't you pause the video like we've paused the video, go and click like, go and click subscribe, ring that fucking bell, and, that helps us out enormously.
Did you have any input on the decision to change the boys' names from Markel to Adelson?
Absolutely not.
Do you and Donna have to protect Wendy?
No,
Does Wendy appreciate everything you and Donna do for her?
you got to ask her. I mean, she's my sister. I love her. I try to give her my best advice I can. If I care about her, and I give her my advice, whether she takes it or not is up to her. She's a grown woman.
Let me ask it another way. Do you feel, or isn't it true that you don't feel that Wendy appreciates everything you and Donna do for her?
And my sister had no idea what I've been through in the last, God knows how many years, and I wake up worrying, am I going to get killed? Am I going to get arrested? And she knows none of it. She's just going around her life, and I had somewhat of an innate anger towards her, probably unjust because she didn't know what happened. But yeah, I was upset.
And weren't you saying on the wire that she doesn't appreciate what you and Donna have done for her?
I don't know if I said that she doesn't appreciate what I've done for her because I never did anything for her.
Okay, so that was my next question. What have you done for her? Nothing?
Other than give her advice and care about her and be a big brother that loves her.
Would you say Wendy's a little bit spoiled?
In some regards, I mean, she gets a lot of help for sure.
Is she a little less savvy about how the world works than you are?
I don't know. I mean, you got to ask her.
Could you trust Wendy with a secret that could ruin your life?
It's not a secret. It's something that would get me killed. So I didn't want to tell her.
Can we agree that she obviously knew something about this crime?
She found out when she came to court. I never told her anything.
I'm talking about the murder of Dan Markel. She knew something, right? I mean, it's not a coincidence she went to the crime scene, is it?
You're talking about the route that she took that day?
I'm talking about her pulling up to the crime scene tape.
She never went to the crime scene. She was going to buy a bottle of liquor that coincidentally the person sent her.
This is a good one, guys. Matt Teomina says, Wendy's divorce did not affect Charlie's life. Understatement of the year as he sits in prison for the rest of his life because of Wendy's divorce. Little poetic irony there. Great.
Stocked the bar party buy a bottle of Bullet bourbon that she was going to pick up. She wasn't driving to a crime scene. And I think she made that clear too. Nobody knew a murder was taking place.
She pulled up to the crime scene tape, Dr. Adelson.
She didn't pull up to the crime scene tape. She was driving down the street and then had to make a U-turn. It was blocked off. But she wasn't going to. She
couldn't help herself.
Nobody knew a murder was going to take place.
She exposed you all to some degree by those actions, didn't she?
No, not at all.
And then she threw you under the bus in her interview, didn't she?
Nobody knew a murder was going to take place.
She knew her husband had just been shot and they were asking her who would want him dead. And she said your name. Are you mad about that?
No, she said a lot of people's names.
Well, she said yours in the first 25 pages of a 5-hour interview. Isn't that true?
I wasn't there for the interview.
But you've reviewed it in preparation for your trial, haven't you?
I actually don't know if I've seen her interview.
You think he hasn't seen the Wendy Adelson interview and studied it? He could probably recite the entire 6 hours.
There was a lot of questions of you about, didn't you do this murder with Wendy? Doesn't the state think you did this murder with Wendy? Are you familiar with your charges in this case?
Yes, I'm very familiar with my charges.
Right. And who are you alleged to have done this murder with?
I'm alleged to have done this murder with my...
Whoa, pause the stream. We've got 666 subscribers, 666. That only happens once. Personally, I don't like the energy of the number of the beast. We need another subscriber right now. Get off the 666. That's an Adelson number. That's the number of death. Someone out there, subscribe to the channel. This is bad luck.
My sister, my mom, and my dad.
Would it refresh your recollection to review a copy of the indictment in this case?
I'm a slow reader, but I can read it if you want.
May I approach your honor?
Right?
And this is the official charging document in your case, Dr. Adelson. What does it say in reference to who you are alleged to have committed the murder with.
This is, what day is this?
Rabbit, I think Georgia is calling him doctor all the time and hitting that home to create the image that he presents as a doctor, because in his Dolce Vita recording with Katie, he says, "Oh, if they come around my house, I'm just going to shoot him, the Latin King. And if the cops come, who are they going to believe? A doctor or a dead gang member?" You know, she's using his own self-elevation against him. Well, we've got 666 subscribers, and there's 66 viewers on the stream right now, guys. Right, we need another subscriber. Let's refresh. Okay, we've just had 2 more. Thank God.
2022. Oh, they think I did a murder with Katie.
Catherine Magbanua.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Give me a minute, I'll read. They got Luis Rivera in here. They got Sigfredo Garcia.
As being alleged to have committed the murder with you?
Did I read it too quick?
Take your time. Should just be at the very top of each charge. On or about July 18th, 2014, did unlawfully.
Okay. Yeah, Katie. Catherine.
Okay. Are you mad that Wendy hasn't been charged and you have?
No, I'm mad that I got charged for a crime that I didn't commit.
Do you have any innate anger with Wendy over that fact?
No, not at all.
Are you pissed that she told all that stuff to Jeff Lacoste?
I don't think she said that to Jeff, but I wasn't there.
How did Lacoste know about the celebration dinner?
That we went out to dinner. She got sick, so she may have told someone that she threw up.
And then what? He just added the part about you referring to it as a celebration?
I never referred to it as a celebration dinner. I picked my sister up. I said, "Where do you want to go to eat?" She said she wanted pizza or sushi. I said, "I know a great sushi place." We went there. We didn't have reservations. We ended up sitting at the bar for an hour waiting for our table. And she had 2 drinks and got sick.
She vomited on the dinner table or at the dinner table.
Yeah, she got her to the bathroom. But yeah, she doesn't drink alcohol. So those 2 drinks, and I think on an empty stomach, I think she got really sick. But there was no celebration dinner. It was the first time that she actually really left the house since she got back from Tallahassee. She was devastated.
Did you say something to her about the murder of Dan Markel right before she vomited?
Absolutely not.
Do you remember what you said right before she vomited?
She was I think she said, "I don't feel well." And I say, "Oh no." And then she threw up.
Before that?
No, I think I said, "Oh no."
What kind of recount is that? I don't feel well. And I said, "Oh no." And then she threw up. I mean, oh no. Can you imagine that? You're sitting in the posh sushi restaurant and your dinner companion says, "I don't feel well." And then you say, "Oh no." That's just not reality.
And then she threw up.
Before she announced that she was going to be ill.
Right.
Do you remember what the conversation was?
Just how's the food? How's your dinner? I mean, we were probably about halfway through dinner. If you look at the timetable, we weren't there long.
Why did you brag to Jeffrey Lacoste about your connection to the Cuban criminal element?
Never said that to Jeff Lacoste.
So he's making that up?
If he said it, I never said it.
Well, You were in here when he said it, weren't you?
Unless you have a story, you don't have a way to persuade people.
Yeah, the sushi pizza thing, I just think is the most ridiculous thing in the world. You know, it's just like, well, I'm in the mood for sushi or pizza. What is that? I can't get over that, guys. And I don't think I should have to. It just should never come up in anyone's sentence. Being in the mood for sushi, I can understand that. Being in the mood for pizza, I understand that. But either or is ridiculous.
I heard him say it, yeah. But I never said that to him.
On one of these calls, and it's in the context of talking about Dave and Wendy's relationship with Dave, you tell your mom that you've already gone above and beyond for Wendy. Was that a reference to having her ex murdered?
No, that's me getting tired of this Dave stuff. I mean, Dave's a great guy. I mean, everyone who meets him likes him. He's not only super successful, but he's very low key, like t-shirts and jeans kind of guy. And he loved my sister's kids. I mean, if you listen to The Wire, the point I was...
What is this? His thing about Dave is like, he's not only super successful, but he's very low key, t-shirt and jeans kind of guy. I mean, what's your point? Don't most people wear t-shirt and jeans? Okay. Inner circle of the upper crust, you know, Valentino shirts all day long. I mean, whatever. Why doesn't he just be honest and say, listen, this guy was stinking rich. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. He has a giant mansion out on West Palm, you know, and we thought it was great because of all the money.
Was making is not how successful he is. The point I was making is that my nephews farted on him, and he thought it was funny and didn't bother him. And he also has...
He's always going on about this nephew's farting on him as well. Like, I think it's the eighth time that in direct examination and cross where he's brought this up, the nephew's farting on him.
3 young kids, the same ages as my sister's 2 young kids. They actually met in line when my sister was registering the kids for school. And it was they've been friends for years. So I thought it was a great opportunity for my sister to have a great guy in her life. And I was getting sick and tired of Dave calls. And The Wire started in April. My sister's birthday's in April. Dave's birthday's in April. So you got a ton of Dave chatter on this case. But believe me, I'd go crazy if I was talking about Dave like this all year long.
So that's a no. You did not reference having her ex murdered?
Absolutely not.
When you said
No.
You've already gone above and beyond?
No, that was me getting sick of dealing with the Dave stuff. As great as the guy as he is, I was still getting sick of it.
When the $1 million offer was conceived, do you recall whose idea that was?
My parents.
Why was the relocation worth $1 million?
Well, it was actually I was going to pay a third, so I only looked at it as that way. Why was it worth it?
Mm-hmm. That's the question.
Because it was going to help my sister out, and it was going to give her a good opportunity for a good job down here, and she was going to be around family, and family's important, so that's why.
Isn't it true that financially you came out ahead on this deal as opposed to if you had coughed up the third of the $1 million offer?
How in the world did I come up ahead? This is the craziest
Financially,
thing.
you paid $138,000, then you paid $2,000 a month plus the $1,000 payroll amount. You're still about over $100,000 ahead financially than if you had coughed up the $333K.
No, I would have been better off paying. And first of all, I never paid for murders. This is a crazy question. but paying $3,000 a month for life is not anything anybody wants to do.
I didn't say anything about paying for a murder. I said you paid $138,000, which you did.
I got extorted for $330,000.
And then you paid, but you didn't pay the $330,000.
Right, because I didn't have it. I that cleared out my safe, and that was what was in my safe that night.
All right. Can we agree that Wendy was stressed out about the issues surrounding her divorce?
I think the divorce caused stress in her life, yes.
And you were hearing about it from your mother, weren't you?
Yeah, I would hear.
Wendy's totally stressed out. Yesterday was a rough one, that sort of thing.
Yes, like I said it before, is that my sister would tell my mom a story. I'd be sitting in the car driving. My mom would be talking to me and telling me the latest story of the day. And that's how I found out a lot.
And then on 2/19 of 14, Donna texts you again to tread lightly with Wendy and refers to Dan Markel as an asshole and a fucker, right?
Sorry. You made me laugh. Sorry.
What a great moment. What a fantastic moment. Probably the high point of any Georgia Cappleman examination. Look at her. What a girl. Woman. What a woman.
Lightly with Wendy and refers to Dan Markel as an asshole and a fucker, right?
Sorry. You made me laugh. Sorry.
That's what I'm here for. Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. And to prosecute you for your entire life in a little frickin' jail cell on your own because you're so high risk with no tablet, nothing to read, shit food every day until you die. And that's called justice.
That text?
Did my mom use a foul word to describe him?
Yes, sir. Asshole and fucker, to be specific.
Sorry. Oh.
It's kind of funny, isn't it, that he's so immature that even in the face of something this serious, and for such a playboy who loves his toys and spending money and being, elevating himself above society and all of the rest of what he does, fancy restaurants, luxury cars, everything like that, the women, and yeah, now he's going to be living, that prison life every day for all of the days he has left before he leaves this earth. And he's still laughing because the friggin' prosecutor is saying fucker in court.
She used a curse word correct.
Is that pretty strong language for your mom, or is that how she speaks?
I mean, it is pretty strong language, but I think I've been called a lot worse, but my mom used a curse word. She used a curse word. You just use curse words too. So
was Wendy less stressed? Was Wendy less stressed out once all this litigation was over?
No, she was a million times more stressed out.
Was she better off financially?
There may have been.
Rabbit, are you serious? There's a restaurant called Antonio and Haruto's Place. Italian Japanese fusion. You're making that up, right? You're just being funny.
Some, but not much. I don't think so.
Was she able to stop paying her $800 an hour divorce lawyers?
Yes.
$800 an hour. I mean, so on an 8-hour day, that's what, 6,400 a day? Well, that's incentive enough, isn't it? That means that they could only work for, how much would that take to, how many days would that be to 100 grand? Like 2 weeks, right? 10 days would be 60 grand. So like what? Like 2 or 3 weeks, 100 grand, and that's all the murder costs. So there's the motive right there. Hey, Tracy L, how you doing tonight? Good to see you.
Did she get $2.7 million in benefits for her children plus $4,800 a month for the boys' benefit?
No, as far as I know, that money was in trust and it's controlled by Dan Markel's sister. So none of that money, you keep saying it like the money went to her. The money's in trust for the kids, and that money never went to her.
Some of it went to her and some of it was in trust for the kids, right?
I don't know the breakdown, but I know the 90-something% of what you're talking about is in trust, and it's in trust for the children. It's not for her benefit.
Right. It's for the benefit of the boys, but it has to come through her because they're children, right?
Well, it has
she gets disbursements, right?
It has to go through the executor of the trust, and my sister's not the executor of the trust.
No, sir. I'm not saying she is. When the executor of the trust disperses money for the benefit of the boys, it gets dispersed to Wendy, right?
See, you know more than I know.
Did you have trouble sleeping after the murder?
After I was extorted, for sure.
Did Katie text you on 12/19/15? Sorry, we have problems sleeping and shit. We do have a lot of weight on our shoulders.
Did she text me that?
Did she text you that?
I mean, she may have, but it sounds about right.
Do you want to look at the text?
I can look at it, sure.
I think I have.
Yeah, Matt Taormina says, yeah, like Dave was going to punch the kid repeatedly in the face for farting on him. Charlie probably, that's what he would do. It's just imagine Charlie as a dad. Just or Wendy as a mother. I mean, these people are just not good people.
Yeah, Charlie.
Which one?
Glasses. You can look around for context if you want, but I'm looking at page 2 of this exhibit, and it's got a little box around it.
Christina Anderson, welcome back. Yeah, he does look drugged off his gills, doesn't he? He looks like Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez has paid him a little visit in his jail cell. Zanny the nanny.
Thanks.
Yeah, he's in South Dakota, isn't he? Is that for his protection? I know I should be keeping up with the news, but I can't do it at the moment. So I'm limited. That's why, we're limited on the information we can share right now. We're mostly just going over the trial, going over the information we already know, but I do know he's in South Dakota, yeah. I assume that's for his protection because he's a high-profile target on his back. That must be fun, right, Charlie?
And if that refreshes your recollection, the question is, did she send it?
Yeah.
I want to go over a little bit some of the payments or gifts that you gave to Catherine Magbanua. We've heard a lot about her being put on the payroll at the Adelson Institute, and she made this demand to you when you met her to give her the first extortion payment on the payment plan. Is that correct?
She didn't make a demand. When when I gave her the $3,000 for her friend, she asked me if I could do her a favor and put her on payroll for $1,000 a month so that she could get insurance for her kids. She was going to cash the check, and the money was still going to her friend, so that money wasn't going to her. She was getting insurance for her
And
kids
did you
as a favor.
believe her that she would give the money from the paychecks to the friend?
I believe what she was saying to me, yeah.
Isn't it true that Catherine Magbanua actually asked you to place her on the payroll back in June, prior to this extortion effort?
I don't know if I put her on payroll. She asked me if I could put her as something when I was dating her, put her as something on the office so she could get insurance.
Yeah, Bell. I think Dollar Tree or the dollar store, the Dollar Tree. There should be a competitor to that, even cheaper, saying a third of a dollar store. Everything a third of a dollar. But you have to buy everything in a third. Like if you buy a cake, you get 30% of the cake. If you buy a water gun, you get like a third of the gun.
But I never did.
And that was in June.
Yeah, I remember she'd asked me about it before, but I never did anything.
In June 24th of 2014, she says, "Baby, I'm going to need help on the employment info. I have to send to DCF for my kids' insurance. Also, if I have to end up moving later on, I need to show I'm working for you, or else I won't be able to get an apartment." To which you respond, "No problem." Remember that?
Yeah, but I wasn't thinking she was asking about payroll. I think she was asking just to say that she worked there, so we'd sign a letter saying that she was employed. But that doesn't say anything about writing checks to her.
And that request was made in between the two trips that the killers made.
That request, well, she asked me if I could do that for her while I was dating her, and I never even did it.
And did she ask if you could do that in between the two trips that the killers made?
I didn't know when they went up, but I found out later that they went up in June.
All right, so that email would have been sent, or I'm sorry, it's a text. That text would have been sent prior to what you're calling is the first layer of the extortion.
That text was sent to me while I was dating her, but I never.
Prior to the first layer of extortion?
The text was sent in June.
Prior to the first layer of extortion?
Before I was extorted, yeah. Before I broke up with her.
And you say several times on the wire that she was cleaning at the office. Was she really cleaning?
No, she never worked for us.
She was doing some type of cleanup for you, wasn't she?
No.
Oh, Georgia knows that the Tallahassee jury just loved that line. Was she cleaning the office? She was doing some kind of cleanup for you, wasn't she? Cleaning up the murder.
What's the purpose of keeping Katie happy? Was she gonna?
No, I was just thinking that, Georgia. What is this? I was trying to keep her happy. I took care of all of her mechanical repairs. I got a cruise for her mother because she always wanted to take her mother on a trip. So I got her a multiple $1,000 cruise to keep her happy. I just wanted to keep her happy. She was helping me. She was protecting me from the Latin Kings. The extortion never went up. I just imagine him pacing around his jail cell, practicing this, trying to listen to himself from the perspective of a juror, going, yeah. So I was just trying to keep her happy because I thought she was protecting me. That sounds convincing. Yeah, so these evil Latin kings that she was kind of involved with because her baby, she was the baby mama to one of the guys that killed Dan, Professor Markel. So, yeah, she must have been keeping me safe. So I wanted to do something nice for her. So I kept her happy. Yeah, I bought her all this stuff and put her on the payroll, even though I was already giving her $3,000 a month cash.
In my mind, like when the extortion never went up, and I just assumed, I thought that she wasn't.
Yeah, the extortion never went up, guys. It never went up. I just gave her all this extra stuff, because I was expecting the extortion to go up, and it didn't. So I thought I better keep her happy. What does that mean?
Part of it, and she was protecting me. Usually extortion goes up. It always gets ratcheted up from what I've heard.
What's the fear of not keeping her happy is what I'm trying to understand.
Well, I could get killed, or the people who are extorting me could come rob me. And I didn't get killed. I didn't get robbed. The extortion never went up. I thought she was really protecting me.
If that's the case, why not just, you're complying with everything they've asked you to do, right?
I'm doing everything that was asked to do. And then yeah.
So why reach out and say, hey, can I get you a trip to Key West to go with that extortion?
C. Malone says, I wonder if Charlie has the hots for Georgia. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? I think it's more of her professionalism that I'm attracted to. If she wasn't so damn good at her job, she might not be my type. But she's just so good that I can't help but love her in every way.
Money.
I never said, can I get you a trip to Key West?
You didn't say you were trying to get them the owner's cottage. Maybe it's not in Key West. Trying to get them the owner's cottage because it's the nicest, $380 a night. The postcard inn. Do you recall all those conversations?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And she'd actually asked me weeks before the bump, because I had this connection at a place called the Moorings that I could get like a really great price at a really affordable price for how nice the place is. And I said I was going to make some calls and help her out and get it. And then I ended up giving her $300 for the, when she picked up that bag at my house, I put $300 in it and I got her a hotel room.
Is that a yes? You remember that conversation?
Yeah, I do.
And she didn't want the trip. In the text messages, she's saying like, no thanks. And you're kind of forcing it down her throat. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, because actually it's funny. At that time in The Wire, I was trying to see if Katie and him were together or they weren't together. So that's why I kept asking, how are things? Are you guys okay? Because if they were fighting, it was making me think more and more that the reason she was avoiding me was because she found out that he was the one who was doing the second extortion again. So I was trying to figure out if it was him and if she was lying to me.
In this case, she says, I don't want to do anything. And you say, you know what? F that. You're going there. You're going to have a good time.
For sure. I was trying to do nice things for her.
And then did you pay for a trip or offer to pay for a trip to Santo Domingo for Catherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia to visit his parents?
I didn't know who she was going with, but I paid for, you're talking about airline tickets?
Yes.
She called me up. She had an emergency. Something happened. She booked tickets for the wrong date. I had no idea who in the family she was going with. And she had no money. And I remember I was in Chicago. I was at a friend's wedding and I took out my credit card and I gave her the credit card number and let her book tickets. I thought she was going with her kids.
So is that a yes? You paid for
the trip
to
I
Santo
remember that
Domingo.
well.
So
For
go
sure.
quicker if we could just
I'm sorry.
answer the question.
What's the objection?
Argumentative.
Overruled.
Did you offer to buy Catherine Magbanua and her mom a cruise?
Yes, Katie had mentioned to me that she always wanted to be able to take her mom on a cruise. So I offered, but she never took me up on it.
Did you call in prescriptions for Catherine Magbanua?
She was a patient of record of my office.
Did you pay for a meal service for Catherine Magbanua?
Yeah, I did.
Did you pay for car repairs for her?
Yeah,
No part of the breast augmentation.
Not at all.
So when she's saying at the same time she's the day of the breast augmentation, can I just put it on the credit card? Can I just put it on your credit card? Is she referring to something else, some other expense?
I have no idea what she's referring to, but I did not pay for her food.
Prison sushi. There's an idea. How would they market that? I think they should try a prison where the food is great. Maybe that would like keep all the unrest at bay for a bit. Just have a really good chef. You could do it cheaply. You know, there's amazing things that you can do with potatoes.
Good job.
What about this birthday gift for Sigfredo Garcia? What was the bonsai tree in the bag? What was that all about?
Oh, she had asked me, and it's on a wire. It's actually
more code coming, guys. You know, there's all. It's so funny, isn't it? The codes for weed. You know,
it's on 420, where she says, "Can you get me some bud from Bud?" My next door neighbor's Bud, and she asked me if I could get some marijuana from my next door neighbor for her. So that's
his name is Bud. He sells bud and bonsai trees. He's a karate instructor. He's a buddy of mine, and
that's what. When I said I have a bonsai tree for you, she asked me, and I got her a little bit of marijuana from my next door neighbor for her.
And you said, I don't know what a married man with kids would want for his birthday, but you did your best. I did my best.
I was being completely. By the way, I was being completely sarcastic. I never would get Sigfredo Garcia a present in my life.
And you thought you hit it out of the park with the weed and the gift card. Did you say that?
Well, give me a little more context.
The context is you don't know what a married man with kids would want for his birthday, but you did your best and you think you hit it out of the park.
No, I was being completely sarcastic because she had asked me for that marijuana 2 weeks earlier, and I gave it to her. And then I was joking around when I gave it to her. I didn't want him to think that I was hooking up with her. So I started to joke around about it. And then I was like, maybe you can just tell him it was for me, because I didn't want him to think that I'm hooking up with Katie, and that's why I gave it to her.
Can we agree in general that it's important to maintain positive feelings between co-conspirators? If you're a co-conspirator with someone in a crime, you want to keep positive relationship with that person. Will you agree with that?
Hey, Ryan B, with your what happened was, I always say that. Are you referencing me, or is that a thing? It's like with Amber Heard, It's like no. What happened is Johnny wanted to go and use, so I did what anybody in this room would do. I threw my body in between him and the drugs.
Not a co-conspirator with her.
Okay, I'm saying in general. Can you agree in general that co-conspirators in a crime want to stay friendly with each other?
I'm not a co-conspirator with her.
All right, can't agree to that. If
George is referencing the other major case, multiple decade case out of Tallahassee, which was the Brian Winchester, Denise Williams killing of Michael Williams. Maybe we should cover that at some stage, guys. Pretty good story. But we'll come back to that.
Co-conspirator develops a motive to harm another one, that could be bad, right?
Co-conspirator. Say it again.
Say, a husband and wife do a murder together. And then 10 years later, they've gotten away with it, but 10 years later, they fall out. That could be a problem. Somebody might start talking, right?
I was never part of a murder.
Were these gifts, these things that you provided to Catherine Magbanua and her mother and Sigfredo Garcia payment for the murder?
Okay, I never got Sigfredo a gift in my life. The guy absolutely hates me. He wants to kill me. He stalked me. He extorted me. Like, that was being completely sarcastic, and sometimes I make some bad jokes, but that's even when I wrote he wanted to take me deep sea fishing, I knew he wanted to kill me. Like, you have that text too. I didn't think we were going deep sea fishing.
On April 6th of 2015, did you receive a text from Catherine Magbanua that reads, "Next time, don't be such a dick to someone who has done something for you"?
Yeah, she's protecting me, and she's mad. She's mad at me over something.
Are these gifts what it took to secure her silence for so long?
No, absolutely not. I was never trying to get her silence. I was hoping she'd tell the truth.
Was your dad's birthday in between the two trips that the killers took?
Yeah, my dad's birthday is July 5th.
And what birthday was that for him?
It was his 70th birthday party.
All right, so there's been a lot of talk about the texting between you and your mom about the birthday. And she texts you on March 4th of 2014 and says she can't talk now, but she'll call when she goes to the bathroom in Gainesville and has privacy. She tells you to erase that text after you read it. Why did she have you erase that text?
Okay. If you look at the records, I never erased the text.
Well, why did she ask you? If you know, you may not know.
Maybe she's afraid my dad's looking at her phone and would find out about the president. It made no sense to me. That's why I was like, I didn't erase anything.
How is you erasing the text going to prevent your dad from seeing it on your mom's phone?
Well, if my dad looked at my mom's phone, then he'd see the text and maybe know she's planning for his birthday.
You weren't with dad. She was with dad, just to clarify.
Yeah, she was with my dad.
And the text that she asked you to erase, that particular text didn't say anything about a birthday or paella. Can we agree on that?
No, not. But I knew what it was about.
All right. 20 minutes later, she texts again and asks something about dad's birthday. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know we were trying to plan a surprise cruise. That was the original idea.
Okay, and the paella is mentioned elsewhere, not in this particular thread that we're talking about now.
Yeah,
Was paella the big birthday gift?
Yeah, I paid for the catering for the whole party.
Okay. Then 3 months later, on June 8th, just after midnight, you text her, quote, still working on dad's birthday present. Was that in reference to the paella guy?
Possibly what I was also getting was a present. I mean, it's been 10 years, so I don't know exactly what I got him 10 years ago on his birthday.
And then at
what
1 a.m., I'm sorry, you weren't done.
No, or what I was thinking about getting him.
And then at 1 a.m., mom texts you back, I know you'll, and I think she was in Israel, so that may account for the time, but she texts you, quote, I know you'll come through for me. Is that what she said?
That's what the text said, yeah.
Can we agree the timing of these texts is consistent with being sent the day after the killers got home from their failed June murder trip?
No, it's consistent with a few weeks before my dad's birthday and trying to figure out what we're going to get him.
Why didn't you go to Dan's funeral?
In Canada?
I think there were some in Tallahassee and in Canada as well.
I know there was.
But did you go to either?
There was a memorial service here.
Did you go to that?
No, I didn't attend. I knew what had happened to him, and there's no way I could have shown up.
Yeah, I didn't want to be anywhere near Tallahassee for the memorial, and I certainly wasn't going to go to friggin' Toronto to bury the man. You know, I was busy at the gym.
I would have been too upset.
Mr. Dubin, your lawyer that was here, seems like a long time ago at jury selection, said, you know, people have different ways of grieving and that sort of thing. Were you grieving for the death of Dan Markel?
I felt horrible about what happened, and I knew what happened.
When did you?
I wasn't close to him, but either way, I mean, I felt horrible about what happened.
When did you find out exactly how he was killed? Meaning, like shot twice in the head.
I found out. It would have been the next morning is how I found out he got shot in the head.
Do you agree?
Yeah, Kim, we're going to cover the Karen Reed case, sure. What is everyone thinking about that, huh? You know, those Massachusetts cops, they do love to look out for each other, don't they? But then again, I can imagine what Roberta Glass is saying. Now, I only know information about the Karen Reed case that came out before trial. I haven't watched any of the trial yet, just haven't had the time. But yeah, we can watch that. We can watch that live together sometime. Where are you at with it, Cam?
That this was a first-degree murder?
Do I agree?
Planned, premeditated?
The people who killed him planned on killing him, yeah.
Do you think everyone involved should be convicted?
I think everyone involved should be convicted.
Even the person that hired the hit?
I think anybody who played a role in it, but I wasn't a part of it.
Do you regret that Dan Markel suffered for 14 hours before he died?
I feel horrible.
He was supposed to die quickly, instantly, right?
Are you asking me?
I am.
No, he wasn't supposed to die at all.
Okay, guys. So Udi, the moderator, the chat moderator with the big wrench icon next to his name, has added a link to the Discord there where you can join us in a behind the scenes, behind the curtain group on Discord where we can discuss the direction of the show, what we're going to be covering next, any creative ideas get bounced around there, or just have a general chat when we're not online and this chat room doesn't exist. You can chat with us there 24/7. If you're looking for any ways that you can support the channel, you can send us a super chat, a super thanks, a super sticker. Or, there's also a link to buymeacoffee.com in the description for this video. Patreon, membership. We've got our memberships released on YouTube. What does that mean? You can check it out on the channel page. What else? If you, or you could just give us a like, a thumbs up. Brilliant. We love that. That's the best. And subscribe to the channel because we've got so many videos coming out. There's just ideas. And you can find out what those ideas are on Discord and have your input and your say.
This was horrible what happened.
Did it surprise you that the cops were able to identify the Prius?
Did it surprise me?
Yes.
I'm not a cop. I don't know how cops investigate.
Did it surprise you to learn that it's not a requirement of law to put the person at the scene of the crime to be guilty of a crime?
Listen, I'm not a police detective.
Was the police work in this case thorough?
I'm sure the police did the best they could.
Did you think that you had done everything properly such that you could never be detected or caught for this?
I wasn't part of this murder at all. You have it wrong.
Catherine Magbanua said that you think you're untouchable. Is that true, Doctor?
That's not true at all.
Did your parents drop off money to you on the night of the murder?
I never saw my parents there. You could look at our cell phones and you'll find that out, that we never saw each other.
I did look at the cell phones, and what is on there is your mom texts you, quote, outside your house.
No, I mean, look at the tower information.
I think you testified that meant she was just passing by on the roadway.
She was approaching the area, to see if I was home.
All right. And do you know what your response was to her text?
Yeah, like 20 or 30 minutes later, I said 10 minutes.
I'm 10 minutes out, is what you
I
said.
think I said 10 minutes, but yeah, I'm not home.
Doesn't that indicate you're going to meet them at your house in 10 minutes?
No, I told her to let me know when you're going to be in the area.
Was the money that Catherine Magbanua got damp?
I never gave her any money that was damp. The money I gave her came out of my safe.
Was it damp?
No, I took it out of my safe. I put it on the dresser. She put it in her purse.
Why did Garcia and Rivera, or whoever did it, I guess I should say, why did whoever did it need to kill someone to extort you?
You gotta ask them.
Well, why couldn't they just come put a gun to your head and say, give me all the money in your safe?
Thank God they didn't.
Thank God they didn't?
Thank God they didn't. I would have gotten killed.
If Garcia hated you, why would he drive to Tallahassee twice to kill someone you hated?
It sounds like he was part of the extortion, or Katie put him up to it.
Doesn't blackmail or extortion usually involve the extortionist having some kind of dirt on the victim?
I know how this was done to me. I know I'm just telling you what happened to me. I'm not an expert in it.
If they had come in and threatened to kill you, would you have given them the money in your safe?
If someone came and put a gun to my head, I would have opened up my safe and I would have given them the money.
I still don't get how killing Dan Markel advances the ball for them to extort money out of you. Do you?
Yeah, I have a theory. They could extort me for life, and I don't think they knew exactly how much I had in the safe. She knew I had a lot of money in the safe. But this way I could get extorted for life, and that's what happened. And I was stuck paying $3,000 a month.
All right, you didn't report.
Yeah, this threat was so real, you know. I never actually saw them, but the threat was really real. I mean, Professor Markel was shot in the face, and that could have happened to me, to Donna, to Harvey, to Wendy, to Ben, to Lincoln, any member of my family. So what did I say? I said, hey, let's everyone live in Miami. We'll try living in Miami.
Report this after Garcia was arrested, did you? Did not report this after Garcia's arrest.
No, not at all.
Okay, you did keep paying Catherine Magbanua after Garcia's arrest?
No, I never saw her again.
Did not report this after Magbanua's arrest, correct?
Correct.
Did not testify in either of their trials, correct?
Was never contacted to, but yes.
You were okay with the possibility of them getting away with killing Dan Markel.
I thought the truth was going to come out in 2019.
How, if the witness who knows something doesn't come forward?
Katie knows what happens and knows I was extorted, and her trial was in 19, and I was expecting the truth to come out then. And instead, I found out that she was having this affair with him on me, and she lied, and all this money was going to her.
So if her defense had been, I was an innocent conduit to an extortion, you would have backed her up on that?
If she would have come in and told the truth, and yeah, for sure, you would have heard the same story.
Where is your family located now? You don't have to be specific, but is your mom and dad, are they still in South Florida?
They still live in South Florida.
Okay, what about Wendy and the boys?
My parents live about 35 minutes from my sister, and I used to live about 45 minutes from them.
And are they okay, as far as you know, physically today as we sit here?
Yes.
And are you concerned that because you've told now on the Latin Kings that they're going to come kill your whole family?
I mean, I just told you that I knew that, was told then that Luis Rivera, the head of the Latin Kings, killed Dan Markel. So, I mean, I do have some concern when I get out.
Right, but even after
me.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I said I do have some concern with Latin Kings now that I spoke and told.
Don't worry about when you get out, man. Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia already live where you're going to live. So your concern, your very, very real and convincing concern. Yeah, I do have some concern, you know, when I get out, which I obviously will, because I've got this great story that deals with all of the evidence, bit by bit by bit. You know, what I did is I was in my jail cell and I made a long list of all the evidence against me. And then I shaped a story around that list that would deal with each element of the evidence against me individually. And then I crafted a long, epic journey, and which I am now telling you today. But I do have some concern about the Latin Kings when I get out, which will be really soon.
What I know.
But what about, I mean, Rivera was already in custody at one point, as well as Garcia and Magbanua. My understanding is your continued fear was due to other Latin Kings, potentially. Is that accurate?
These are highly connected people. Luis Rivera, the head of the...
This is so convincing. Look at that. These are highly connected people. Luis Rivera, the head of the Latin Kings, means absolutely nothing behind bars. If you think he can't send somebody from the outside, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're so wrong. He could do it in an instant, I tell you. In an instant. Oh my gosh. The Latin king, the king of the Latin Kings. Tato. Tuto and Tato.
The Latin Kings in custody means absolutely nothing. If you think he can't send somebody from the outside, you're wrong.
All right. So my question to you is, did that happen? Because you told yesterday
Was I killed yesterday when I was in jail? No.
And nobody in your family has been killed so far.
You're talking about in the last 24 hours?
Right.
Not that I know.
Okay. But you're worried about that.
I think now that I've spoken, I do have a concern, yes.
Okay. But not too concerned to remain silent when it's your own butt on the line, right?
I'm here to tell the truth. And yes, do I have a concern now that I told you what happened? Absolutely.
Mom tells you on that first wire call that the bump involves the two of us, referring to yourself and your mom, right?
Yes, that's what she said.
And would you agree, prior to your explanation, that that looks pretty incriminating?
I think if you don't know what happened, you can assume the worst.
Isn't it true that you had to add the bit about confiding your extortion in your mom in order to put that toothpaste back in the tube?
No, that's what happened when I got the checks.
Otherwise, why would you bring your mom into this?
I didn't want to. When I first told her on the phone and asked her to write the checks, I told her, I said, just it's a long story. I brushed it off and she didn't press anything, but I think she was out somewhere. It wasn't until when I picked up the checks that she started pressuring me and saying, this makes no sense. Why are you doing this? You're not dating Katie. And that's when she found out.
But your mom is the most high-strung out of the whole group, right? And she's old and she worries, right?
I don't think she's super high-strung, but she does worry about her
You
kids.
don't?
No. You've never met her.
Well, you said she was, quote, notorious for making a big deal out of everything.
I mean, she overreacts, but she's a mom. I think a lot of moms overreact.
Yeah, she's a mom. I think a lot of moms overreact. What? Well, it's 2.5 hours, guys. We've been on. And I'm still awake. I guess that coffee did the trick. But we should probably close it down for the night, huh? I think we'll be done. It's just going to be a two-parter. Tomorrow, we've got the rest of Georgia Cappleman on cross-examination, and we'll probably be able to cover Daniel Rashbaum's redirect of this witness, this key witness, tomorrow as well. So we'll be free and clear by Wednesday of the Charlie Adelson testimony. Where to go next? Maybe Junum Chinder. Maybe we'll start the Wendy interview series, the revamp, the next part, the fresh look with the audience. Let's have a look through a few more of your comments, guys, just before we go. Jibs and Jabs says, Charlie's testimony is a great example of digging your own grave, isn't it? Isn't it just that? I mean, digging his own grave, building his coffin, jumping in it, you know. Oh, Kim Casimiri has moved out of Florida. Where'd you go, Kim? Let's guess. Wyoming. Hey, Leslie B. How you doing tonight? Yeah, I should set an alarm, but, you know, I think a lot of people are really enjoying listening to me sleep. Weirdos. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's my fault. But, yeah, we're keeping stocked up on coffees, guys. Yeah, Rabbit's got a good point. So, Doctor, you left that fast woman of yours to rot in jail and leave her two children with no parents. Scum. Yeah, no, he thought someone else was going to come forward. He thought the truth would come out, Rabbit. But it didn't. Twice. Real noble gentleman, this guy, huh? Leah, no, I don't think I'm going to have any holidays for a while. And I've worked on my day job every day since the 6th of April. Every day, guys. That's why I've been so tired lately. But that's okay. Wow, there's so many comments. It's never ending list. Hey, we're not complaining. Hey, Kim Casimiri, thanks so much for the super, what is that? A super chat? Super sticker? You're going places. Well, thank you, Kim. Great, guys. If anyone else wants to support the channel, buymeacoffee.com, link in the description, or send a super chat, a super thanks, a super sticker, sticker, whatever. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of options, guys. Really appreciate it. And make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, because we're putting out a video every day at the moment. So if you get notifications, you can join the conversation and ring the bell and all the rest of it. You know the score. Also, we hopefully, we don't have any holidays coming up, Leah, but I think I need to find like 2 or 3 days where I can just sit down and finalize some of these t-shirt ideas, because we're getting so many good ideas. We've had some ideas for ages, but all the time people are coming up with new ones, highlighting things from the cases we cover where it's just like, obviously that needs to be a t-shirt. I don't care if any of them sell or not. Another one, Kim. You are a diamond. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. We really appreciate it. Oh, she's recognizing my yawn. Yeah, well, that's why we're shutting it down consciously tonight. You know, I was thinking about pushing on for another half hour for Georgia Cappleman's direct, but we'll cover it tomorrow. We'll get it all done. Don't worry about it. Yeah, these people were very highly connected bricklayers. The exam is laying blocks. You gotta lay blocks. You know, when Christopher DeCoste is like, you know how to read. You can read. You had to take an exam. And Luis Rivera's like, the exam is you gotta lay blocks. You just lay blocks. But that whole thing's just never really sat right in my head. If this is a huge national crime syndicate, what are you doing ferrying around cement in a wheelbarrow and lifting heavy blocks and laying them and building walls? You know, was it like a front job, like no show, no work to justify his money, or what? Or did he actually lay blocks all day? Because it seems like if you're a big time cocaine dealer, Latin King, you know, murder for hire kind of guy, issuing KOS orders, kill on site orders, do you really have to ferry around cement in a wheelbarrow and build walls with heavy blocks? What is that? Kim says, haha, you're so normal. Okay. Like in a good way? You're normal too, Kim. Yes. Yes. Rabbit says, we need a picture of Georgia Cappleman in your merch store to glue onto our Santeria candles by September, Metrix. Okay. Yeah, Georgia Cappleman bumper stickers all the way. Yeah, I know Albert or Mary or whatever your name is, that Dave paid his ex-wife $3 million to go away. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of a weird thing. When you get into giving people millions of dollars to do something you say, I think it's a dangerous area, you know? I think you've got too much power and money, and you've forgotten that people are people and that their intentions are important. Still got 72 people in the chat, guys. Make sure you give us a like, leave a comment, share the video, subscribe to the channel, support the channel. There's lots of ways to do that, guys. You know how to do it. You know how to do it. But we are going to shut it down for the night, folks, and we'll be back tomorrow. You know, usually we're on around 5:30 to 6, starting 5:30, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Eastern Standard Time. All the way from New York to Miami and back up to Maine. We're stopping in Maine for lobsters. We're stopping in Boston for beans. We're stopping in New Hampshire for what do they have in New Hampshire? Apple pie? Is that from New Hampshire? They have orchards up there, don't they? I don't know. What food is in New Hampshire? Then we're going down to Connecticut. Am I missing one? Yeah, what do you get in Connecticut? Nobody knows. New York, slice and a Coke. Slice and a Coke. Yeah, Jersey. Again, some states just don't have a famous food, do they? We know what we get when we get to Miami, sushi and pizza. Why not? Oh, what happened with our poll? Have to check the poll. Pretty even. 28 votes. 50% say Charlie should have taken the stand. And 50% say he should have remained silent. That's funny. And it's not like we just had 2 votes. That was 28 votes, guys. $56 likes on the stream. Let's push it up a bit, guys. If you're still watching and you haven't liked the video yet, just go and click it. Let's see where this is all going together as a group. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you want to join us on Discord and have some after hours conversation with everybody on there, there's a link in the description. There's a link, an open link in the description. It's free. I'd never heard of Discord before, but it's a fancy chat room with all sorts of bells and whistles. Doesn't cost anything, and all of the core fans are there. but it's open to anyone who wants to come and join the conversation. So check it out. Why not? Yeah. Kim says, like and subscribe and buy him a damn coffee. He needs it. Sure, guys. I'm shamelessly punting the support for the channel, but you know what? It's all going back into the channel. This really isn't a job to me yet. I just like doing it. But we are going to be doing more and more and more. And we've got some really good ideas coming for the future. So make sure you're subscribed. Okay, enough plugging. Gonna go now, guys. And we will see you all tomorrow. You better be there. Have a good evening.